Welcome to the Locks DFS podcast, everybody. We're here. I'm here, Christian Hardy, here with Addy, Taylor, per usual. Our Sunday night ritual going through the Monday night showdown. Honestly, every night when the Sunday night game is over, it's a little bit tougher if I lose to look at this for the next day. But when I win, I'm always excited to look at the next day and be like, all right, what are the prices I like? So we've kind of already talked about it a little bit, but do we want to talk about what happened the rest of the day? We won the showdown. Locks won the showdown.
Yeah, killed it.
I'll let Taylor go through it, yeah.
I think a lot of people bubbled the early only because if you're not a member of ours and you don't know, we play pretty much every slate. So we bubbled. We won some of the 50-50s and lost some of them for the early only slate. We lost the main slate. Then we killed the afternoon slate, killed the showdown, and then we absolutely murdered the NBA slate despite having Draymond Green and Willie Cauley-Stein in foul trouble, but placed in like the top 1% of all the tournaments. Big night over there on NBA. Looking at big night tomorrow, just NBA, NHL, and then the showdown.
Do we want to, Taylor? Do you want to run? I mean, I know we didn't cash the main, but do you want to talk about? Do you just want to talk about the main lineup this week? Oh, is he cut? No, you're good. Go. We can hear you.
No, I'm yeah. I mean, it was going really well through the first games, and we were expecting big games from the afternoon games. Todd Gurley came through. Zeke fell flat on his face.
Well, the main thing we did right is that we didn't have Jermaine Kearse, who was like 45% owned in cash or somewhere in there, at least on DK.
Right, and I felt really good about that. I felt really good playing Willie Snead over him. I mean, Willie Snead infinitely outscored him because Kearse scored 0. But
Stonehands Willie Snead.
Yeah, had the targets, not the production, in a really great matchup. And then we had Flacco, Snead, and Crabtree. Didn't really all perform that well, but going.
Taylor was talking to me about it earlier. I was going to say that, like, going into those games, well, not only did we have like an edge going into those games, but also it looked like it was going to go to overtime.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't too far out of cash, and we had Flacco, Crabtree, and Snead, like I was saying, and then it was going to go over to overtime. John Brown had a touchdown.
He cut out again.
I had to do major pulling one time. Anyways, close,
yeah.
But yeah.
And if Addy always likes to talk about his week, but I'll let him talk about it on Addy's action. Every time you watch Addy's action, he'll talk about his team for the first few minutes. So if you want to hear what he did, what he ended up on. All right. That usually goes up on Friday. So, okay. With all that said.
Wait. We got to select the winner for you guys subscribing and commenting. So out of all the videos I went through, and I kind of just like randomly picked someone, and it is on the NFL Week 7 final lineup strategy video. Someone commented that their favorite player was John Brown from Baltimore, and his name was Hayden Daughtry. That was just a great pick. I know Addy and I were really on him, or just the Baltimore Ravens in general. He went for 134 in the touchdown. I thought that was a good call by Hayden. So if you hear this, if you're watching this video, just message us on Twitter at LocksDFS, and you will have a choice between either an NBA season pass or an NFL season pass, whichever one you want. So, just make sure to hit us up.
Honestly, we might just keep running these every week. It was a good way to hear from you guys and what you guys think. I think it was cool. Overall, like NBA, all the sports. So, I mean, we can just kick it off right now. We can just say if you want to, like, honestly, the more you contribute, the more we're going to see your name. So, let's just say, like, next Monday night showdown, we're giving away a free week pass, or not a week, a free season pass. Let's do it.
Season pass,
whole year, NBA or NFL. So, just comment here, whatever you like. It doesn't necessarily have to be a player; it could just be a general thought. I mean, we just like discussion in the comments. So, all right. With all that said, it seems like a good intro. Are we good to get into the game?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
I guess the last thing I'll say is that obviously we will have like optimal lineups on LocksDFS, our website, locksdfs.com, where we'll have FanDuel, DraftKings, single game lineups. We do it for all of the primetime games, Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night. The game, we've got the Giants and the Falcons right here. We've been staring at this DraftKings screen forever if you're watching on YouTube. Vegas, there it is. Falcons are down a point, but they have a 28 implied total, and the Giants have a 24.5 implied team total as well. And the total is at 52.5, down a point and a half from where it opened at. Kind of starting like we used to do with MVP. We've talked about a few things. I mean, the three guys that stand out at the top. I mean, honestly, all four of these guys are the main guys you're going to be looking at for MVP if you're going up. And do you guys have a preference if you're thinking about if you are going to go up MVP? We'll talk about where we're thinking about going in MVP in a second. But with these four, I know my preference. But what are you guys thinking if you're going up here?
I mean, out of those guys, it's probably Barkley for me, just because given the matchup. I mean, week after week, when the slates start or when the slates first come out, the first thing I'm looking at the running back position is who's facing the Falcons, and if that guy receives. If that running back is in the passing game at all, I'm going to target them just because they concede so many catches. Their linebacking crew is like awful, and they're decimated at safety as well with all these injuries. And Barkley has a 22% target share, which is probably the highest in the league. The only one I could think of that would be higher would maybe be James White, but even then, I think Barkley probably has a higher one. So I think Barkley's floor is super, super high, has the highest touchdown equity on the team. And I think some people are going to play Odell Beckham, but every time I play Odell Beckham and I'm watching the game, and as soon as I see the game start and I see Eli throwing the ball, I regret playing Odell Beckham.
Addy, thoughts? I'll let you just jump into from there.
Yeah, I'll just echo what Taylor said. I'm on Saquon if I'm paying up. Just to reiterate what he was talking about, the Atlanta funnels their targets towards the running back position that we've talked about before. They lead the league with 10.3 passes per game to the running back spot, second in the NFL.
I didn't know it was that many.
Yeah, exactly. Second in the NFL in yards per game at 73. So this is just this is the running back that gets all the targets versus a team that literally for the past 2 years has shown an inability to stop that. So, yeah, if you're paying up a captain, I think it's locking in Saquon.
Okay. So it sounds like in general, Saquon's going to be a jam. Just in general, like just place it. Just get him in somewhere. Period. Yeah. One thing we're talking about MVP is a main guy down here, and that's Evan Ingram. Taylor, do you want to talk about Evan Ingram's spot?
I mean, it's in the same vein as what we were talking about with Saquon. Their linebackers super slow, and with the outside cornerbacks for the Falcons being so good, it's just such a funnel defense. Anyone who catches the ball in the middle versus Atlanta is solely in play. And Evan Ingram, I think, had an 18% target share before going down in week 3 at the beginning of the game. He's coming back, has gotten some full practices, and should be good to go. Shouldn't be limited. And he saves you a ton of money in the captain spot on DraftKings. Helps you fit in the guys like Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and Saquon, which are you kind of must plays in my opinion. Really like Evan Ingram.
Does anyone have a DVOA versus Falcons DVOA versus tight ends pulled up? I know we were talking about the Giants a little bit.
Yeah, they're 15th in the league. But they do have a lot of injuries up the middle of the field, which is typically where tight ends eat. So I wouldn't let that deter you from locking in Ingram. I mean, Ingram is just I think there's a huge edge in getting underpriced studs in the captain spot. Like guys, because you're always if you can get a cheap guy in the captain spot, it really opens up a lot for you in the rest of your flex positions. And so anytime that cheap guy is he's going to get targets and he's capable of doing things with those targets, the fact that he has a good matchup is even better. So I think cheap studs in the captain spot is just an awesome move in general.
For the pod, we won't build more than one team, but I mean, we were looking at it before, and your team's going to look a lot prettier when you got Ingram in the MVP. So we just kind of want to start there from the beginning, kind of put him in. Then we could talk about the rest because let's build a team kind of for the pod.
Yeah, to add on to the Evan Ingram thing, Christian found this information earlier, but I mean, the past couple of years, you've always wanted to target tight ends.
Versus the Giants.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, talk about Austin Hooper later.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Austin Hooper.
It's a similar spot.
Yeah. Definitely. I just saw on Evan Ingram the fact that both those guys. And OJ had a pretty big game last week, didn't he? If I remember right.
And Cameron Brate's also scored.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
big games or not big game for Brate, but the tight ends as a whole destroyed them.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
where
go ahead.
That's just where you're going to want to target the middle of the field, Evan Ingram and Saquon.
I
think Odell will have problems.
Let's go ahead and plug in Saquon there, someone we know we want. And then I guess the next thing we can talk about, obviously Matt Ryan is going to be – I mean, we usually want the top scoring quarterback who's, like, dominant in our lineup. I mean, do we just want to plug him in right now?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I don't think we need to talk about Matt Ryan too much, do we? Like, I think we kind of get it. I think the next thing we should kind of talk about here at the top is probably like Julio versus Odell, just straight up. I think I know where you guys fall, but what are kind of your take on it and where do you land? I guess Addy can take this one.
I would land on the Julio side of that between Julio and Odell straight up. I mean, Julio's he's the best receiver in the NFL who's due for an insane amount of positive touchdowns.
Look at those touchdowns.
So, I
mean, 700 receiving yards. How many targets does this dude have without a touchdown? I mean,
yeah, this is gonna
like 70.
I'm nervous making that call because it does seem like when they get into the red zone, there is there is a lack of focus on Julio Jones in the red zone. Like that can't be denied.
Well, it's not even just it's been a thing. It's not even just this year. It's like it's been
right. But I'm surely willing to bet on talent anytime. I think Julio Jones can probably score 8 touchdowns a year solely on plays not in the red zone. True. So I'm not, and that's at least that's how talented this guy is. And if it seems like they're gonna, the Giants might try and lock him up 1-on-1 with Janoris Jenkins. If that's the case, then I'm locking in Julio Jones even harder because Janoris Jenkins hasn't been that good this year. He's given up a lot of touchdowns, and anyone 1-on-1 with Julio is just a nightmare. So.
Yeah, when it comes to guys like Julio Jones or like DeAndre Hopkins or something, I really don't care what cornerback they're facing because it's not like they're going to beat them anyways.
Right.
So, yeah, that's why I always side with Julio in situations like this.
I always feel like I'm forgetting something at the beginning of the podcast, and I did forget something in the beginning of the podcast. So we're going to talk about the injuries real quick. The main injury is just Devonta Freeman's on IR. He's out for the year. So it's Ito Smith and I want to say Devonta Freeman. Yeah, Tevin Coleman are going to split carries. Last week, Coleman had 39 snaps, and Ito Smith had 31. And then the other thing that's at least notable is Russell Shepard's questionable. I mean, the Giants basically have no receivers right now. He was going to be running as the number 3. If he is going to be out, I don't know. Limited at practice throughout the week, so. Who knows what will happen there? Sorry, this is not good because I can't see my X right now. Okay. Is going to be Benny Fowler. Is going to be the number 3 receiver. You should think. Just signed this week, but yeah, pretty gross. Latimer's also on IR. Yep. So looks like he's going to be the guy. Which yeah, like Taylor said, pretty gross. But again, something that could open up and something that people might go to. It's going to be a pass happy game for the Giants in Atlanta. So just a thought.
Even more reason to play anger.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is that if you are going a route like with Barkley and the MVP or with Julio and the MVP, which I can't even imagine going Julio over Barkley MVP, but if you're playing Barkley MVP, you're going to have to go down there. Like it's going to get pretty gross pretty quick. So just kind of think about that. So our build with Ingram was we also put Matt Ryan in. Like we said, I mean, we're just going to try to get the QB1 that is probably going to be 25-plus points as much as 20-plus, I would say, but probably in a spot like this, 25, pretty much every time. So then after that, let's before we get down to more of these guys, we got 4.35 left on our lineup with those 3 and Ingram and MVP. I think we should kind of talk about these guys in this mid-range because there are people who are going to want to go there. So we've got guys, Tevin Coleman, just because of the timeshare and his price, probably going to be out, but in play. But then you've got guys, Ridley, Shepard, and Sanu. I mean, is there any interest in these 4 guys? And if there is, which one, I guess, are you kind of thinking about?
And who?
I guess you can even go down – I mean, yeah, but Hooper's kind of in the range too. You can throw Hooper in there. Do we just want to talk about everyone? What do you think?
I mean, I like Hooper a ton.
I mean, you like Hooper more than these guys? All of them?
I mean, straight up over all of them except maybe Calvin Ridley. I mean, I would close. But if you look at the last 2 weeks, target shares, Hooper's taken a big jump. I think he's got a 24%.
Addy, you want to pick it up? 24% target share. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Taylor's Wi-Fi is
Yes.
just fading out.
Yeah, it's really in and out tonight.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks like they've been incorporated
So I mean,
You're good.
into the offense more. I mean, that's really it. Like his targets have bumped up, obviously in plus draws versus Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay, but this is similarly so. But I know Taylor wants to talk about Austin Hooper specifically, so like,
Yeah.
if you want to have this moment, hopefully your Wi-Fi.
I think the matchup is big.
Right.
yeah, it's the matchup, and he's gotten that 24% target share these last 2 weeks. And okay, so the Giants are what in the league versus tight ends? I think they're like
They're
15th.
11th in DVOA.
They're 11th, which is really deceiving. You've seen the last like 2 or 3 years, like as soon as the slate comes out, you're going to want to target tight ends versus them. And they really, until last week, haven't faced anyone with a good tight end. Let me bring up the matchups. Do you have them? That the Giants have.
The only one I can remember is that they played the Eagles. Zach Ertz went 743-1. But other than that, they played the Cowboys, Jaguars, Saints, and Panthers. Panthers without Greg Olsen. So that's almost all.
Yeah. So like the last couple of years, like you always want to target tight ends versus them. The franchise just ignores linebacker talent altogether. They're really slow. Oh my God, I cannot find these matchups.
I mean, we're only missing one, so we're good.
So they faced Jacksonville, no tight end. Dallas, Jeff Swaim. Houston, don't really have anybody. New Orleans have Jeff Swaim. New Orleans
forget.
Yeah, really. Carolina without Greg Olsen, and then last week they faced Zach Ertz, and he had 7 for 30 or 7 for 43 and a touchdown, something like that.
Yep.
Beat them pretty easily. I expect and he's really prevalent in the red zone, which is a big thing. When they get there, they're not going to use Julio. They're not going to use Tevin Coleman. It's usually Ito Smith in there, which we'll talk about that later. But it's really just Hooper and Ridley in the red zone, and Hooper's been the guy most of the time this year.
One thing I will say, just to add on to this, if you want to stack up Julio with Austin Hooper, I think that's a good move because Austin Hooper, if you're on the whole Julio's not scoring touchdowns thing and you want the guy who is getting the targets, that's Austin Hooper. He leads Atlanta in red zone targets with 6. So I think all the extra attention that's going to Julio is kind of leaving Austin Hooper open to eat. So if you want access to some touchdowns, he probably has the highest touchdown equity as far as pass. With Devontae Freeman out, it might just be straight up highest touchdown equity. So the fact that you can get that guy at 5,800 on the team that's projected to score over 4 touchdowns, I like that call a lot.
I mean, yeah, I've been talking about it for a while. Ever since Devontae Freeman, Devontae Freeman is their touchdown guy. That's like the only guy they use in the red zone. With him out, it opens up a ton of opportunities for other players.
Right.
I like you can kind of see where we might end up going here. We mentioned Ito Smith already in the lineup that we have. We have Ingram, Barkley, Jones, and Matt Ryan. You plug Hooper in, you can't get to a kicker, so you're gonna have to go with the defense. So, which is why we were talking. Huh?
So that might not be a bad idea. Defense
for the Giants, yeah.
This Atlanta defense is atrocious, though.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
Bad.
But the Giants' offensive line is also atrocious, so sacks maybe.
Right.
But that's kind of why we were thinking about a guy like Ito Smith who will give you the money to get a kicker. As you know, we like to play kickers on showdowns.
Right. One note on that, though, that I should say, because you did say sacks, and I think it's important to note, the Giants rank last in the league in adjusted sack rate at 3.3%, and Atlanta is not much better. They're 28th in the league at 5.3% adjusted sack rate. So that kind of just shows how this game is kind of leaning towards a pass-happy shootout as far as what's most optimal, because none of these teams can generate pressure on the quarterback. So definitely interested in a lot of these offensive weapons in the passing game.
Yeah, the fact that the Giants, with the starting quarterback of Eli Manning, opened at 25 points is really telling.
Yeah, well, that's what I said when I put up the total. I was like, well, I mean, I know it's the Falcons defense. I mean, we know how bad they are. Everyone puts up points on the Falcons, but just seeing like an Eli Manning-led team on the road at 25 points was 24.5 now, but was pretty shocking. But
I mean, we've seen lately, like even when Eli can't do anything and the Giants can't score points, Saquon's still like amazing fantasy-wise.
Yeah.
He gets his regardless of the outcome of the game. Do
we want to talk about Ito? The main thing I want to talk about with Ito was looking at his red zone share. Really, he seems to be. I talked about the split in carries. It's pretty close. With Devonta out. But
it's dead even. I mean, Ito had 11 carries last week. Tevin had 10, and they both had 2 targets. So
you got red zone touches here. There's been a few times like this week 3 where Coleman had 4 and he had 1, but otherwise 6-1, 4-2. He had 1 and 0, then 4-1. So Ito seems like the guy they're going to in the red zone over Tevin Coleman, and that was the case last week, which is probably the most important to note. So he's like Evan Ingram to me. He's a guy that his price screams play him, like, because the price doesn't seem to match the role to me.
Yeah, just look at Tevin Coleman's price, and that just shows you the value. How much is Coleman? He is
7-4.
7-4, and Ito is what? He's
4-4.
Can't see. He's 4-4. $3,000 difference. And last week, Ito had 13 touches to Tevin Coleman's 11. He had 4 red zone touches to Tevin Coleman's 1. I've been playing Tevin Coleman pretty much every week that Devontae Freeman's been out. He's been relatively underwhelming. Ito Smith, when he gets the ball, has been relatively good, but his role in the red zone is really what you want, especially at that price. He has pretty high touchdown equity. Tevin Coleman is just like a middling running back in between the 20s, and Sarkisian doesn't pass to the running backs at all. So neither of them really have that much of like PPR ability at all. So It's really just like the red zone work. Whoever scores a touchdown is going to score the most points between them.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be Ito. I think Ito's probably going to. Right. I think Ito's probably a good bet to score a touchdown this game.
Yeah. Also, Ito's been impressive to me when I've seen him with the ball in his hands. I mean, I haven't like watched a ton, but to me, he seems like the more dynamic of the two. Not that Coleman is any slouch. I mean, he's a pretty good running back too, but Ito's pretty explosive. So, and then if you go there, you're gonna have money left after you go with the kicker, whichever one you decide to go with. Probably Tavecchio just because he's on the higher total team. But yeah, that's kind of where the build is. Other than that, do you guys have any? I feel like we ran through this so fast. It's probably because we were just so set on. I feel like we all think a lot of the same things on the slate. But do we have anything else we want to talk about?
No. I guess we could just mention it's a pace up game for the Giants. The Giants are 29th in the league in pace, second neutral pace, and Atlanta is, I believe, 14th in the league in second neutral pace. So, I mean, or situation neutral pace. So, it is a pace up game for the Giants. So I guess slight bump to their skill position players, but nothing crazy.
Go ahead.
I think, I feel like there's been many, I think there's already been like 2 showdowns with the Giants on here already. I like when the Giants are on here because it's really like condensed and people are going to go chase Odell, which I think Odell is amazing and stuff. But with Eli at quarterback, it's kind of just like, I reserve it for GPPs only. If you're playing a cash game, especially with Ingram back, you just want to go play Ingram and Barkley and then just like the top plays on the other team. I think another route you could go with this lineup is play Tavecchio at captain and then play Ingram in the regular spot and then play Hooper over Ito Smith.
Yep. Yeah.
I think that's a really good team. Both of those teams are really, really good.
I just think Ingram's going to smash, so having an MVP seems so appealing. I really think this is an Ingram. It just makes a lot of sense. Like, they're missing their targets. The Falcons funnel to the middle of the field. Like, I don't know. It feels like Ingram can do a lot of work in this game.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they've really got 3 guys who Eli has played with. That's 4 if you count Saquon. So, but really only 4 guys who he's played with that are going to catch the ball.
Yeah,
it's pretty condensed.
And the word is Ingram is not on any sort of like minutes limit or any sort of snap count or anything like that. So I think he's a full go. So
yeah,
that's good to know.
So yeah, I guess if you take anything away from this podcast, I feel like it's been short. But Ingram, Barkley are like smash spots, and then you just play Matt Ryan because he's a QB1, and that's his thing. And Ito is a misprice to me. Ito seems too cheap. So those are kind of the main takeaways. And Julio is just Julio. Like this is probably like this is probably the lineup we're probably going to be running. This lineup is pretty stacked, honestly. But like Taylor said, the other option is to Tavecchio captain and get up to Hooper, which is pretty nice as well because we were kind of talking about how we feel more confident in Hooper's red zone ability than Ito's. So.
And the target share. I mean, Ito's not going to catch more than like 2 balls in the game. He's three balls if he's lucky. Hooper, I mean, with the 24% usage or target rating or target, Jesus, too much NBA target. I don't know. I think his floor is really high, and so is his upside. Obviously, if you've seen the past 2 weeks, I think I like him quite a bit more than Ito, but I have to decide if it's worth putting a kicker in the captain spot rather than Ingram.
Yeah, I mean, really, if we get if this game was in a few weeks when Ingram is back from injury, I feel like he would be right here. Right here with Shepard and
yeah, you'll see the price rise. I definitely am mispricing. It's probably bigger than it's definitely bigger than Ito Smith's.
Oh yeah, definitely
mispricing
to me, especially in this spot against Atlanta too. That helps.
Yo, scroll down.
I would probably
down.
7.
Yeah.
Who's cheaper? Who's 28, 29? Yeah, no one.
There's really it's really just.
It's
really just these guys, and it's gross. I mean, that's real gross.
yeah. There's nothing there.
So yeah, I mean that's I don't think anyone's gonna be playing anyone down here.
I mean, you could if you want to just go bump up Ito just in the regular flex spot. Just bump Ito to Hooper. Can you go to Vecchio to Falcons D?
Wait, Ito. Oh, Ito
to Hooper.
Yeah, you can. We say that?
Oh,
yeah.
we did.
Yeah, you can play Falcons.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Yeah.
It's interesting just because you only have exposure to 2 giants and both of them could eat without getting touchdowns because they got good people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I said I was talking about that earlier. Saquon could. I mean, you look at his box score, and the Giants haven't been scoring points, and he's still putting up 20+ fantasy points every game.
Yeah.
We were or not Taylor. Addy had a team earlier that was Saquon and the captain, but I think it had Eli in it, right? Didn't it? Or something like that. I don't know what it was. It's tough to get Saquon. I mean, I was playing with it before. It's tough. You're making some big.
I mean, right now in this lineup, plug in Hooper and Ingram in this team, and then
Julio probably.
Let's get Julio. Throw in the cheaper kicker, Rosas, yeah. And who can you get? Coleman, boom. That's a cool team.
That's a cool team.
It works.
That's a
Matt
cool
Ryan,
team, bro.
It's pretty balanced, and you got Saquon.
Because Coleman, so we didn't really talk about
with the Ryan fade. Actually, Ridley would make a little bit more sense, right? Because you could just catch all the
super hedge. Well, because I mean, if you get Coleman, you just get the touchdowns in the red zone. Hopefully, Coleman gets red zone touches, and Julio Jones just eats in between the 20s.
Yeah,
and Matt Ryan doesn't score any.
Yeah.
Touchdowns.
Yeah, but I think we didn't really talk about Coleman as a play. I don't think anyone's going to play him because it looks like he is in a timeshare with Ito, a straight up timeshare, and he's got the gross half of it, because it's not in the red zone. But
and the price,
this guy, I would venture to say he is the more talented back. He hasn't shown it this year, but we've seen this guy be explosive in the past. We've seen him be auto lock when Devontae Freeman is out. He
was sick in that game. I remember that game.
Yeah, so if for whatever reason, the Falcons decide to ride Tevin a little more, maybe even in the red zone, give him some red zone touches, he is underpriced for the record. So
Tevin looks blazed in this pick.
Yeah, he always does, man. He always does.
All right. I think we talked through. I mean, we gave you guys 2 lineups now, so that's pretty cool. We never do that.
Wait. Oh, okay, never mind. We already did the giveaway thing.
Yeah. Just so I'll say it again though. 2 things. We are LocksDFS, locksdfs.com. Again, we'll have full lineups, what we're playing, our optimal lineups will be on the website. Before the slate locks, you can buy week passes, month passes, and you get access to all the NFL we do. And then the other thing is, again, comment with. It doesn't necessarily have to be a play. It can be kind of just general thoughts on the game or whatever it might be. We're definitely here to talk with you. So, just leave a comment and enter. That'll enter you for the giveaway. Of course, we're going to do another one of these on the Monday night show next week. So, all right. With all that said, locksdfs.com. Follow us on Twitter at locksdfs to kind of keep updated with our lineups and all that sort of thing. I think that's it. We'll see you guys. I guess you'll probably see Taylor tomorrow's NBA video. So
right.
Yeah, I'll be up in the morning.
All right. See you guys then. Peace.
Cool.
Peace.
Peace.